Hey folks, this is Bill McGoldrick again, and this is episode 5 today, and we're going to do a bunch of different things today. We're going to go over some, the two big bar chords. I'm going to touch on those. I need to get some graphics for the team here for those two chords. Again, as I always say, those are vital. Those are chords that you need, especially once you start doing more popular music and rock and roll and things like that. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to try to put this whole thing together and try to, if we have enough time, to learn 2 songs. I actually also teach at a school in Newton, and I'm working on these 2 Led Zeppelin songs for one of my students. I'm not the biggest Zeppelin fan, but I learned them for this guy, and they're very different kind, and we're going to kind of put together a few things that we've learned already and add a few things to this to these 2 particular two songs. And one other thing I wanted to talk about is, God, this reminds me of when I was in 3rd grade. WGBH Channel 2, the public television station in Boston, really had essentially just opened on Western Avenue. And my entire Cub Scout troop at the time went over there. And there was a folk guitar player who I was fascinated by, Tony Sheridan, and he's probably long gone by now. But it was, I met him, and all the other guys who were with me, he asked, who's playing an instrument? And all the rest of them were playing like trumpet, trombone, and everything like that. And I didn't want to have anything to do with those. I wanted to play guitar, but I had not had the money saved up for a guitar. And so I told him that, and he encouraged me. And sometime after that, my uncle bought me a guitar for $19 in Woolworths in Alston, and I was eyeing it for months at a time. And I was about 10 when I got that, and I don't know, I'm probably on my 100th guitar right here. But again, the first thing we're going to do today are the bar chords. And again, you know E, right? And now the bar chords are very, very difficult. It takes a lot of hand strength, but essentially, that's how you know E. You really got to change your 1, your 2 on the 5th string, and your 3rd finger on the 4th string. You got to change that around so that your 2nd finger is on the 1st fret of the 3rd string, and your 3rd and 4th finger fill out the E, which I know you've been practicing, because you did tell me that you were going to do 1 hour a day for 4 months, right? Something like that. Was it 4 weeks? It was 4 weeks. But so if you get that sort of thing like that, and Andrew, if you see a close up here, you move up. So this is your 1st finger has to. And again, remember, I think we've talked about the keyboard. And between E and F, there is no black key. There is no E sharp. You go right to, so if this is an E with the root being down here on 6, you're going to move it up a half step. Boys and girls at home, what is the name of that chord? That's an F. And between F and G, there's an F sharp, a G, an A sharp, G sharp, or A flat, A sharp or B flat, we'd call that B flat, B, C, C sharp, D. And actually, and if you take a look at the close up here, whenever you see 2, that's the 12th fret right there, and it's all starts over again. So right here, that's an E. That's an E. That's an E. But we're talking about bar chords today. Bar chords are. Yeah, I neglected to say, I mentioned that I am using my Bose system here today, and it's a great system for miking, for voice and for guitar. And because we're going to be playing through my iPad today, a couple of these Led Zeppelin songs, so I wanted to really be able to have the option to be able to hear it rather than just using the iPad speaker. So again, this chord. These chords, again, you could just, I would just go home for this week. I'll have a graphic for this. And again, the root is where? The root is on the 6th string, right? The root for E is right here. The root for this, F, G, A, B, half step between B and C. full step, a whole step between C and D and E. This is just really, we're going to talk, I'll add a third thing we'll talk about here with chords, okay? These babies here. One other thing, if you notice here, this is an F, right? Open is A, B flat or A sharp, B, C. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can actually make this a smaller chord by just playing the fifth. That's a fifth, an F and a C. You can do it also on the A string too. So if, you know, that's a B flat, that's an F. Again, it's the rock and roll, the beginning of rock and roll, if you think of the Cars song. Wasting all my time, and it's turning so near, kind of lose my mind. That's why you don't want me singing. I was watching some of these other episodes, and it's, again, you know, I'm a professional guitar player, and I work with professional singers. I do some backup, but fifths are just as critical as these other big bar chords, because how many times have you heard? And just a small time girl, we've talked about this. Living in a lonely world. Not going anywhere. Just two notes. Just two notes. I mean, really, if you skipped all the other chords we've gone over and just learned fifths, you'd be halfway towards rock and roll. So again, two chords we're talking, two bar formations we're talking about. And again, I'll get graphics for these. The big bar chord and it takes a lot of effort. After a while, there's no effort at all. It's harder, by the way, boys and girls, on acoustic guitar than it is on electric guitar. So if you have an electric guitar, again, if you have really young kids, for the parents at home, I'd pick up a small nylon string guitar. Nylon is a lot easier. These are steel strings, and steel, you know, it hurts unless you have huge calluses, which I do have. But nylon is a good way to start. But again, this is, and where's the root? Whatever note this is. Again, I want you at home practicing, trying to pick notes out and trying to figure out what the name of the note is. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. If you know that, then you know the names of these chords. If that's a G, that's a G chord. If that's an A, that's an A chord. If that's a C, that's a C chord. The other critical bar chord to be learned really right at the beginning here is your bar chord with a root on the fifth. And again, just like this chord has a root on the sixth string, this next one, and it's based upon an E, right? So we're just moving E up, essentially, right? That's that E format, basically. This one with the root in the fifth, on the fifth string, is based on the A. Again, you can play A like that. You can play A like that, remember? Doesn't that sound good? That sounds great. So what we're going to do is move that up a half step. This will be the hardest chord you're going to learn right now. I got to find a graphic to get to the team here for this particular one, and I will get that to you folks. But this one, these are the two we're talking about here. Rock and roll. Sometimes for extra leverage, I'll use my fourth finger. But that's how the traditional way you look. I was feeling ooh-ha-ba. I asked my family doctor just what I had. I said, doctor, doctor, Mr. MD. Straight ahead stuff. It is a gateway. This is a gateway chord to greatness and for you being a great guitar player. And again, just practice. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about the right hand with these two particular songs we're going to talk about right now. So that's really what I wanted to go over here. Bar chord with the root and the sixth string. The name of the chord comes from whatever your first finger is on, and it's tough, and it's, you know, you're gonna be, your hands will be collapsing. You'll be hearing a lot of that sort of stuff. It's just the nature of the situation here. You need to work with these things. So you're working on things like that will just help with your dexterity, having your right hand in coordination with your left hand. But this is all about finger strength and hand strength. And, you know, I've never been one of those people that work out with a ball or something like that. Some people talk about that. I don't know. Maybe that's a good idea. But let's go into this other tune, these two tunes here. You know, kind of odd tunes, very different kind of songs. So let's, okay. I love these iPods. They shut off. They do this nice thing for you. They shut off, and you can't figure out how to not have it shut off. Okay, so let's listen to this song for again. Gallows Pole. It was Led Zeppelin 3, a huge album. So I'm going to break this down into sections. This is the very first section. That's an A7 to an A minor 7 to an odd chord. Odd chord. G, D, A, 7. You have that part, the G, D part. Let's listen again. G, D. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. The first part, in A7. We've introduced that song, and again, this is why we introduce chords, so you can learn songs. And this is not about really learning this particular song. It's cool. The bigger repertoire, like I think I've told you folks, I have a professional acoustic duo that is my own duo, and I work with about 7 or 8 different women, all pros. Each one of them has a different song list. So your repertoire, the more you can submit to memory, and working with a song like this, and I'm going to introduce another tool called the Ultimate Guitar. Type in ultimateguitar.com. I'd say 90% of the songs in the world are out there, and it's free. It's like a freeware thing, like Wikipedia. People all over the world will add these chords on, add these songs with the chords. I'd say 70% of the time they're right, and 30% of the time they're not, and you just got to figure it out. But in the old days when I was a kid, you used to just have to put on a record player and lift the arm, lift the arm, lift the arm, listen, lift the arm, listen, etc. So it's a little bit easier that way. So again, the first part of this song, A7 to A minor 7 to, there's a riff. And what Jimmy does, Jimmy Page is the guitar player, he's the writer of Led Zeppelin. Still is one of the greatest guitar players of all time, just because he's totally unique and totally creative. But oftentimes he'll do 5, 6 different guitar tracks. So there's someone in the background. I don't want you to worry so much about that. When you're a solo guitar player, or maybe you're working in a duo, you want to try to grab the essence of a song, and you're not going to get every riff, because that riff is kind of ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-boom-ba, da-da-da. So I'm going to introduce a new chord. It's a hybrid chord, and it's really, I would call this an A6-4. It has a 6th note, an F sharp, and a 4. You know, it's like a C. Move it up, move a C up a whole step, and take off your 3rd finger. So the verse comes, hey man, be a little one, got in a thing, G, D. Didn't get no silver, getting in gold, Dun, 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 dun. So that's the first part. Okay, so let's take a listen again and play, and we'll go right into the second part, which is pretty difficult. We're going to be going. I actually wrote this out. Maybe we can get a picture of it. It's actually on page 3. So it's a beat each. It's a G, D, G, A, G, D, D, A, G, D, G, D, G, D, G, A, at speed. So bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum 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 bum. That's the second part. It's tough. Break it down. A beat. Yeah, and this is how you should do it at home. A G D G A G D D A G D G D G D G A. Again, I wanted to do another song here, and maybe I'll touch on that song real quickly. And so the next part. So that's the second part. So we have this part. Amen. Third part. Let me get a little bit more volume. And this is really tough. This is where your right hand comes in the hand. This is right up my alley because the way I play. It's single notes. G, 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 A, G, A, J, A, J, A, G, A, J, A. And that's it. Let's play along with it from the beginning. The whole thing. GD. GD. Here's that fast part. No. Another verse. Right here. This is the high part. Right hand. That's a CD. Okay, we rocked out a little bit on that one. So I only have a short period of time. I'm going to introduce this song, and maybe we'll do a little bit more of this on the next one. So the first thing I'm going to introduce is that's drop D tuning. You ever seen the movie Almost Famous? This is a great song that's featured in this. It's kind of an interesting thing. What I do, I didn't look it up on the internet. I just kind of listened and tried to figure it out myself. And the bass player is changing the chords, but let's listen to it. And to the team here, I may go a little bit over here. Nice mandolin.
Spend my days with a woman in kind, smoke my stuff and drink all my life.
So the bass player is doing that line, and I don't know what Jimmy's doing really. He's essentially playing really that open D thing. But what you can get, since you don't have a bass player at home, I just do a single notes, just. Single notes. La, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. Just as that over again. Da, mi, re, do. Picking the top 4 strings. I'm going from that low, what's a D now, because I tuned it down to D. And the second section is this F chord, which is something we have in a, you know, a D. You move it up a minor third to the 5th fret. That's the only second part. La, mi, re, do, fa, mi, re, do. Let's play along with it again.
Made up my mind to make a new start. Going to California with a weekend in my heart. Someone told me there's a girl out there with love in her eyes and flowers in her hair.
That's essentially, you could play an F, G,
Took my chances on a beach at night. Never let 'em tell you that we're all
beautiful song.
the same. Oh, the sea was red and the sky was gray. Only had the heart in the fall of the day. Mountains and canyons start to tremble and shake. Sure enough, the sun began. Watch out.
Is that bridge, I think. It's a D minor. A. So it's called the bridge. I like to play up here, A here. That's an A too.
Find a queen without a king. They say she plays guitar and cries and sings. La, la, la. Ride a white mare in the footsteps of gold. Trying to find a woman who's never been born.
So that's that song. It's basically. What, if I was doing this in my duo, the cover of the extra bass parts. That's all I'm doing. That B section. It's a D actually, up on the 5th fret, up to the 7th. Neil Young does that a lot. And that bridge is D minor. Da, 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 da. Let me go back to E. So again, recap. The big bar chords. You know, we will get the graphics for you. Work on those next week. The bar chords that start with the fifth root, get that one down as well as fifth. And replay the Led Zeppelin thing. Look up on Ultimate Guitar both songs. If you have any questions, just email me and I'll take you out with one of mine. That's it. Thank you.